Hello and welcome back to Byron's Adventures in Bannerlord. Now, here's the thing. This guy, he has only 4 units, and you may be asking yourself, how did Reformist catch this guy? And I don't know why I'm speaking like William Shatner right now, but apparently I am. Anyway, the point is that I don't really know how I caught him, apart from the fact that he was just in a battle and he was very disorganized. So that's probably contributing to it somewhat. Now, this guy is going to be fantastic for us to potentially persuade, so I will very much hope that we will be able to do it. Unfortunately, I don't have honor, really, so this is not really going to work as a charm skill. You must have heard of my deeds. I speak to you as one warrior to another. Valor, not going to work, but calculating might. Yes, there you go. That's great. If we can get this guy, we're going to be in a fantastic situation. All right, so that's mercy, that's honor, it absolves you, and that's honor as well. We could do calculating, there we go. Even if it is a higher percentage, I feel as though if it is much more suiting to the particular option, then it's definitely a good idea to go with the other one. We're going to go for, oh, I should have done charm. Should have done charm for that one. Oh yeah, this is fine. Nice, we got him. Hopefully he's going to join us for free. He does. Okay, there you go. And this means that we're not currently in any kind of agreement with him. And as a result, we don't have to pay him. Look at that. We don't have to pay him at all, which is fantastic. Really, really good work from Byron right there. All right, so in the previous episode, I did say that we were going to go on a bit of a sieging spree, and that's exactly what we're going to do. So let me just actually not do that, because I actually wanted to create an army. I couldn't see the create army little thing there, the little option. All right, so let's go for, oh wow, there's, oh dear. They're quite far away, aren't they? Most of them are quite far away, so this is going to be a little bit uncomfortable perhaps, but we're still able to build an army of around 1,300, which is pretty good. I mean, you know, I'm not gonna beat around the bush there, but yes, it seems like that's pretty decent. And we have 852 at Bence right here, and we have Pendrake Castle as well. And there's Meritor's army too. Okay, so I think even if I start the siege ahead of time, don't think we're really going to have too many difficulties. We're going to go pretty hard here by building trebuchets initially, and then I'm also going to be building some preparatory siege towers, battering ram, and so on, and they're probably going to assist us quite a bit. I can only hope that the armies that I have asked, well, basically the vassals that I have asked to join us, will maybe have some food of their own, because if they don't have food of their own, then they're going to be eating very, very fast, and they're going to basically make us starve very quickly, so we might not be able to go on that much of a spree. And here's the thing, even if I had a I don't know, even if I had maybe a little bit more, if I had a little bit more in my army, I could just auto-resolve this. But personally, I would love to be able to go into to go into a siege, because it's been a long time since we've actually gone in, you know, by ourselves, and instead of just doing an auto-resolve. I personally think it could be much more fun to do it this way. So let's hope that my trebuchets actually do a decent job. Unfortunately, the catapults are doing a lot of damage, and the trebuchets do not have a very good amount of DPS, damage per second, and they don't have a good amount of that. So it is a little bit dubious to assume that they might actually win this, but they have already destroyed about 20,000 of the walls, which is pretty good. But if I have to build that all the time and continue building them, then this is going to be a bit problematic. Thankfully, the trebuchets seem to have gotten down most of the enemy catapults, and look at this, the Batanians are getting themselves taken prisoner. I don't know whether you noticed that. It went by pretty quickly, but a whole bunch of Batanian vassals have been taken prisoner by a number of ours, so that's really, really good. And yes, we are now starting to share our food with our friends here, which is not great. So we're having a bit of a problem here now, and we're also having a bit of a problem because I am now having to build onagers to replace the trebuchets that have gone down, which is not exactly good. but hopefully I'll be able to get a number of them, prepared here. We have 51 days left in terms of food, but that's quickly going to disappear. Just watch it disappear. It's pretty crazy how fast it goes. But look at this. We have been so effective, or my trebuchets have been so effective at destroying the enemy walls that I can basically head in straight away. And I won't have wasted that much time in getting the walls down, and as a result we will be able to go on more of a spree than we otherwise would have been able to. Because of course, the last time that I've basically said that, where I've basically said, hey, I'd like to, take multiple castles and towns in one fell swoop, I ran out of food pretty quickly in that case. And that is obviously not something that you really want, especially when you're trying to be super effective and things like that. So I hope that that's going to happen this time, where we will be able to do it, but it really depends on the enemy and what they decide to do. Okay, come on now. Don't get shot, Mr. Byron. Maybe I can... no. I'm not entirely sure why this guy is invincible. Seems like... No, he's not. No, never mind. Alright, so it seems like he was murdered by something else, I suppose. Oh yeah, also, I do apologize for the similar colors that my faction has in comparison to the Botanians, because I know that someone actually mentioned that in the comments, and basically said, hey, yeah, it's going to be pretty difficult to tell what's happening between each of these two factions fighting against each other, because we have such a similar color. So I'm wondering whether I'll probably change my color to something a little bit lighter, just so that we can sort of see a little bit easier what is currently happening without having to look for that small little sliver of UI element. You can see that right there, kind of separating the two bars, but it's a little bit difficult to see in my opinion, at least if the colors are the same. So yeah, we're going to have to do something about that. If I can remember to do it, of course, because you know me, I'm Mr. Byron, and he is, shall we say, quite old now, so he might not have his mental faculties still with him for the most part. I don't know how I have such an excuse. I mean, Byron definitely has an excuse. He can say, well, I'm ancient now. Yes, I'm severely ancient. But yeah, it doesn't seem as though that's going to happen with me. I have no excuse, because I am not that old. But anyway, we're going to see if we can maybe do some damage with my bow here. I really like bow combat. I think bow combat is super fun if you have a decent proficiency in it. Although, at the moment, it is not proving that effective for me, because I'm just missing all the time for some reason. Okay, anyone else? Anyone else? I gotta say, I really like the sieges in Bannerlord. I feel like they've really done a great job on that. Being able to have all of your units run through the streets, having the additional tactical and strategical options available to you when you actually go in here is super, super fun to utilize. Because, of course, you do have the ability... I shot him in the heart. He should be dead. Oh, well, never mind. Yes. Okay, so... yeah, anyway, the point is that being able to destroy walls, destroying walls and getting in, or using battering rams or siege towers, or a number of different things. You could, well, technically at the moment you can't starve out the opponent, which in my opinion is something that definitely needs to be added. I think it is probably one of the most important things that needs to be added in future versions, because let's face it, that is one of the better, most efficient ways of weakening an enemy garrison. And as it stands right now, you're going to need a massive army to be able to take things. And I don't mind that so much. I think that that's perfectly fine, to have a big army, because generally you're going to need a pretty significant army. But in the grand scheme of things, I would much rather have the option to weaken the enemy first. And that's also something that I would like to suggest, actually. This probably could be added through the use of a mod or something like that. I'm going to give this town to myself now, because it's good to have a town in the nearby area for its garrison potential, and maybe being able to put in a couple of prisoners and things like that. So what we're going to do is I'm actually just going to go here, improved garrison. We're going to be recruiting, training, set the upgrade path. I actually don't want to do that, so we're just going to leave it the way it is. Tier 4 units. Actually, you know what? I'm thinking we're going to specify some troops. So we're going to make cavalry, and then we're also going to select the culture. Now, my recruiter is probably going to be Batanian, so I'm probably going to just have Batanian. I have no idea what any of these are. I guess mounted skirmisher. I really don't know what these are. So it might very well be that I'm choosing something terrible, but I think mounted skirmisher could be really fun. So I guess we'll just do that. And that's it. That's basically all I want to do there, really. Okay, so we have some trade to potentially do as well. 120,000 in the marketplace right here, which is actually pretty crazy. So I'm going to sell all of the weapons that I have. Sell all of the shields. And there you go, another 55,000. We're now over 1 million gold. It actually took a while for us to get there. Anyway, as I was talking about beforehand, a mod potentially, or maybe a feature that the actual developers can create. Not entirely sure what's going to happen with that, but something that allows you to complete a siege on the world map without having to go into the siege itself. And I'm not talking about auto-resolve here. I'm talking about basically being able to weaken the garrison in some way, some deeper strategic level than just using siege weapons sometimes, because you do have the ability to use siege weapons and reduce the strength of the garrison by a little bit, and it actually adds up over time quite well. But what I'm talking about is a much more effective way of doing that. So for example, I don't know, Britain-Walder and Viking Conquest, which are well, shall we say mods. Yeah, in the case of Viking Conquest, it's a paid DLC, but it's basically a paid mod at this point, in my opinion. But anyway, the point is, those mods are adding that deeper level of strategy. They really are. They're adding that deeper level of strategy, and it's actually really fun to do sieges sometimes. Sometimes in Britain-Walder and Viking Conquest, it's sometimes fun to do those, because some of the time it is a huge chore, and it's definitely something that is kind of a bone of contention between a lot of people, because some people say that the siege mechanics in Britain-Walder are some of the best ever, and some are just like, oh no, please don't give me that, because that is way too harsh. And I agree with both parties, actually, because on the one hand, sometimes I don't want to have to lose a whole bunch of units in the first initial, couple of days of a particular siege. But that's kind of realistic, I guess. Sometimes you kind of think to yourself, yeah, that might actually be kind of realistic. So it's kind of a half and half for me, to be honest, because on the one hand, I would prefer to not lose units due to RNG. I'm sure there's a bunch of people in the comments that have experience playing Britain-Walder and indeed Viking Conquest as well, which borrows many of the same functions and features from Britain-Walder. But that's what I'm saying. It's just a case of giving the player more options, and that's what I'm trying to say in a very roundabout way. I you know me, I prattle on, but I get there in the end, and I just wanted to say that that's exactly what I was talking about. I just wanted to say that, being able to have that deeper level of strategy would be super fun. Don't you think? I think that would be super fun, and that's exactly the reason why I'm also saying that a starvation mechanic that actually works would be very important, and it would also increase the importance of kind of giving your caravans more protection, shall we say, and maybe having the ability to create patrols and escorts and things like that for your caravans. That would really make a huge difference. Being able to prevent supply lines of your opponent as well, just for the sole purpose of starving them out. That really has a pretty significant impact on gameplay, and that's what I like about it. Alright, so I built some more onagers right here, and we're going to try and see if we can take out these ballistas. They seem to have been building ballistas for an extreme amount of time, and as a result they have so many to spare that they can just literally replace them almost instantly. It seems like we have actually gone through them now. So that is really, really good. As you can see, we have Ekarand of Vlandir attempting to take care Bence, and that's not really going to work, in my opinion, because I will be able to go into this siege in just a second, and hopefully we'll be able to win. It is going to be a nighttime siege, which I do apologize for, because, well, you know, I've said before that YouTube does tend to darken videos, but bear in mind that, look at this, we're in the snow, so it might actually not darken it that much, which is pretty cool. And also, look at the fires. The fire effects are really, really nice in my opinion as well. So we do actually get to see a rare nighttime siege, because usually I don't tend to do these on purpose, because it is a slightly less comfortable viewing experience for both myself and for you, because I would like you to see all the action that there is. Okay, let's see if I can do some damage. Ow! Are you serious? Ah! Okay, Byron, get out of there. Thank you. Okay, let's try and see if I can maybe do a little bit of sniping action. There we go. Ah! See, this is exactly what I mean. It's dark. I can't really see them that well. Okay, well, I think this is probably going to be a relatively easy battle, because I would highly doubt that in a castle they're going to put too much effort into their garrison. I think they'll probably just leave it to the militia, and that's pretty much all I think they're going to do, which is great for me. Although, wait a minute, the militia are actually doing massive damage. Look at this. They are actually fighting back, because we are having problems in these bottlenecks. I'm very much hoping that we'll be able to get inside here and hopefully... Okay, yeah, you know what? I'm going to have to retreat a little bit here, because I'm taking way too much damage for no reason. We're getting chamber blocked most of the time as well. Seems like I chose the wrong wall to go into at this point. I'm actually wondering where the rest of my forces are. We're taking quite a bit... Oh, no, never mind. Okay. Thought to myself, we're taking too much, you know, too many losses. But it doesn't seem like that is indeed the case. Hello, sir. Would you mind not shooting me? Is that guy dead? Yeah, that guy seems to be dead, but he's just kind of standing there or lying on top of that stone or something. Anyway, fire onagers look really cool in the nighttime, by the way. I don't know look at that. I don't know whether you've noticed that, but I think that's super, super cool. And I am probably going to get shot and killed here, because I've just taken so much unnecessary damage. But I guess that's not all bad, because... Oh, look at that. Look at that. Some debris is coming away from the wall right there. That's pretty cool. Look at that. Oh. Wow. That is actually really nice. I don't think the debris can actually harm me, but I should be a little bit careful just in case. You never know. We have been killed by a stone in the past, so that kind of makes me a little bit wary about those kinds of things. Okay, so I guess what I'll do is I'll just do a little bit of extra damage to the gate here, so that maybe the battering ram can get it down a little bit quicker. There we go. All right, and now we can make our way into the central gate here. It's going to take a bit of time for us to get this down as well. Ooh, it seems like I am indeed the only one here damaging this gate, which is actually not very good. And as you can see, we do have a number of enemies behind it, which is not good at all. And that is going to make things very difficult for us indeed. I'm actually kind of surprised that we're taking so long to get in here, to be honest. I feel like it would have been... I don't know. I feel like we should have been much quicker. Oh, the bodies. What? Look at what is going on here, guys? Why did you lose so many people? This is bad. This is bad news bears. That is very, very bad indeed. Okay, well, I guess I'm just going to try and do a couple of overhead strikes here. Try and thin out their numbers a little bit. I mean, I can't really do too much with overheads. It doesn't have a huge amount of penetration power or anything like that. So we're just going to have one kill every couple of swings, which is not very effective at all. But what else can I do? This is a conglomerate. They are absolutely monopolizing this defense. It seems like, never mind. Seems like they're actually starting to lose faith in their options, and hopefully that will end up being a victory for us. we took some blunt damage against the shoulder right there, but that is not really a big deal. And you can see here, let's actually take a look at where most of our casualties were. Look at this. This wall is still not penetrated. I am extremely surprised. Wow. The Batanians have done a fantastic job of defending here. We've actually lost 131 units, only 13 from my own army. We're just going to speed this up a little bit just so that we can get the castle done, and then we can go on over to Ekerand and see what he's doing, because no doubt he's going to be a bit of a scoundrel. You know, he generally tends to be kind of interfering in many of our affairs, and hopefully we'll be able to do a good job at defeating him, potentially. Maybe I don't even need to defeat him. Maybe I can just try and persuade him or something along those lines. That might be quite nice. Okay, so I'm going to take the hero right there. We're going to be looking out for noble units as well. And because I'm obviously playing a new series, if you haven't seen it yet, it is a Batanian-focused series with a focus on using only themed units and weapons as well as armor. And, of course, we also are focusing on smithing, which is something that I am very intrigued by, because it's just something that I have never done before, and it seems very, very fun to try and create something super cool. Okay, so I'm actually going to give this to Faron, because I didn't notice beforehand, but there was a castle taken that Faron actually had most of the majority, with the exception of Byron, and I did not give it to him. So that was a kind of a big mistake on my part. Well, not really a big mistake, but a slight mistake on my part, and it would have been much better for me to give it to him. All right, so we have a pretty sizable amount of troops, and what is he doing? You see this? He's actually running into me. Okay, probably not the best idea, sir. But anyway, he has Aldrich, he has Liena, who actually was Mr. Barney the First's wife. And I would actually like to speak to Ekerand if at all possible. I will be probably auto-resolving this. Aha! I can do it. All right. So let's have a look. Calculating is going to be... that was actually our best bet. But unfortunately, that did not work. That also did not work. Okay, apparently he's basically impossible to... he's impossible to persuade, which is kind of unfortunate, really. I have a strategy to win. My strategies always work, eventually. Oh, full of ourselves, are we, Mr. Byron? Yes, apparently. All right, well, whatever the case, unfortunately, we will not be able to persuade him this time, which I suppose is not a big deal. So we're just going to do an auto-resolve. I couldn't even go into the fight if I wanted to, because I am too injured, as you can see. So we'll just take this guy down, and we will take him prisoner. Actually, I didn't even want to take this guy prisoner. Force of habit. Force of habit. Okay. Well, we're going to be releasing Liena here, because I would like to be able to persuade Aldrich to potentially join us. And, it seems like Aldrich might have escaped. Maybe. Not sure what happened with him, but it seems like he might have. I suppose that's not too bad, but it would have been nice to gain some relation with him, because as you can no doubt tell, his clan doesn't really like us that much. So, we'll see what happens. Anyway, there we go. Nice. I think the reason why he also doesn't like us is because we executed the one guy in his clan earlier. Oh, no, never mind. Achios is actually an empire vassal from Corinios, and obviously we executed him because he was defecting all the time, and that was the only reason. But thankfully, we've done all of this without executing anyone again, which is actually kind of amazing. I am pretty happy with that. Okay, so we're just going to be disbanding our army now, letting our guys just go and do whatever they want to do. And there is a hideout here that I think I'd probably like to get rid of. So let's go off and do that. And otherwise, we're making some good money from ransoms. Not bad at all. We are being... a couple of our people are being defeated by mountain bandits, which I gotta say is not very good and a bit questionable. Not entirely sure why they're getting defeated by them, considering, as you can no doubt see, every single bandit party on my screen at the moment is pretty... Well, they don't have that much. They don't have that much. They seem to have about 10 units maximum. But that would probably mean that those people that are getting eliminated by those bandits have a very low tier army. And that's definitely something that we want to try and fix going forward, because I definitely don't want my vassals to just get eliminated by random bandits. That's going to be super bad for us in the long term. But there you go. Easy victory for us against the bandit boss, of course, because I didn't have to do any of the fighting myself. And we can also take a couple of prisoners, I suppose, if we wanted to. I have a huge amount of influence. How did I gain so much influence, actually? Because I seem to remember that we used a huge amount by speaking to people, and we haven't actually done that in quite some time, I suppose. That is probably the reason why. Whoa, Dunglanis has so many people. There's no way I'm going to be able to do that. Not in this episode, at least, but I might be able to do it in an upcoming one. Or maybe we'll just have to wait and see if some of our people might come along, and maybe we can assist them in their efforts. That might be quite fun. All right, so let's actually take a look at my party screen here, because it's been a while since we've actually done that. And you can see here there's a number of people that are ready to level up, which is pretty fantastic. I like seeing those guys gain levels, and I'm actually kind of surprised that they have gained not that many. Is it just me? Yeah, maybe it's just me. I'm not entirely sure, but I feel like... Oh, no, no. Like, for example, look at these guys. Vlandian crossbowmen. Only 5 of them leveled up out of the possible 10, which is kind of strange. I would have expected all of them to level up in that case, but we're going to be gaining a pretty significant combat strength boost from doing this, so I feel like it's always worth going through your party screen every so often. Even if you have such a large army like I do, and it's kind of a pain to do so, it's probably going to help out in the end. So, some of those expert guys, they're going to be really, really useful for us, because that's the reason why I wanted to try and persuade their clan leader to join us, because he's just really, really powerful, in my opinion. I feel like their units are really good. Okay, so we'll just wait until nightfall once again for this next hideout. I'm just trying to kind of, secure this area a little bit more from bandits, so that we don't have them consistently preying upon all of our villagers, trying to kill our caravans, trying to kill our weakened vassals, and so on. And that's going to eventually help our people in recovering their forces pretty nicely. It's also going to increase the amount of gold that our vassals in the area can make from caravans and villages and so on. It's just going to increase the prosperity of the area in general. And it's kind of amazing how Bannerlord, shall we say, I'm not going to say manipulates the economy, but it's kind of amazing how the economy works in Bannerlord. And that's the reason why I also think that starvation mechanics being included would have an even greater effect on the overworld. Being able to intercept a caravan here or there that has vital supplies for this particular town could be the linchpin in a particular conflict. And I think that that's really going to make a big difference. It's going to unlock with a massive golden key the whole of that particular territory. And that could make a big difference. So skirmish warfare would be much more advantageous than it is at the moment. Anyway, let's zoom out and actually see what's going on. Wow. We've actually taken this one up here. Look at this. We've actually taken this town up here, which is pretty significant. And I think we're probably going to be taking this one as well. No idea how many people they have in the garrison there, but it's probably going to be kind of useful for us to do that too. And as we always do at the end of an episode, we're going to take a look at our combat strength. And look at that. We have just reached 30,000, which is so incredible to see. Botania only has 2,500 strength, and Vlandia has 2,400. The Khuzait, we're catching up. Look at that. We're catching up, and the one thing that is going to increase our combat strength significantly is being successful in persuading enemy vassals. So I'm going to be trying to do that much more going forward, and maybe I'll do a little bit of that off screen. But if it's a particularly interesting vassal, then I will, of course, show that. I thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.